Inter-process communication using pipes. The objective of this lesson is to explain inter-process communication tool that is known as pipes. In this context, I shall discuss two types of the pipes: ordinary pipes and named pipes. A pipe is one of the first and simplest inter-process communication mechanism available in early Unix systems. A pipe is a communication channel between the processes. The processes that wish to communicate with each other, they can use pipe for this purpose. As you can see in this figure, that process A wish to communicate with process B. Process A wants to share some information or data with process B. So a pipe can be used as a communication channel between these two processes, process A and process B. A pipe has two ends, a write end and a read end. The right end of the pipe is the end where data can be written by the process who wish to communicate with other process, whereas read end of the pipe is the end from where the written data can be read by the other process. So according to this figure, process A will write at this right end because process A wants to exchange information with process B. So process A will write at this end, at the right end, and process B will read from the read end of the pipe the data that has been written by the process A. Pipe behaves as a queue. This pipe behaves as a queue. This means that process B will read the information in the same order as process A has written in this pipe. The first piece of information will be available first at this end, and likewise the last piece of information that process A has written at this end, that will become available at the last at the read end. Pipe is a bounded buffer. This means there is a maximum capacity that a process A can write messages in this pipe. So pipe behaves as a buffer, and this buffer has a maximum capacity that how many messages or how many bytes can be written by the process A at any given time. And if this buffer is full to its capacity, this means process A cannot write any more messages in pipe A because it is already full. It is a bounded buffer. The capacity of the pipe, that how many messages can be stored in a pipe, it varies from system to system. Different system provides different capacity for the pipe. Other operating systems such as Linux and Windows, they also support pipes for inter-process communication. There are different implementation issues that need to be considered while designing or implementing a pipe. Like the first issue is communication unidirectional or bidirectional? This means, will the pipe support unidirectional communication, the communication only in one direction, that is communication between process A and B will happen only in one direction. Process A will write the information and process B will read the information. Process B cannot write under the unidirectional communication. Only one process can write to the pipe and the other process will read from the pipe. Whereas in bidirectional communication, both processes can read as well as write from the pipe. So process A as well as process B can write to the pipe, and both can also read from the pipe. So communication is bidirectional in this case. Another issue is, in case of two-way communication, is it half duplex or full duplex? This means if the communication is bidirectional, that is both processes, process A and process B, can read as well as write to the pipe, then either it supports half duplex transmission mode or full duplex transmission mode. In half duplex transmission mode, only one process can write at a time. The other process has to wait for its turn. It is just like as we have communication using walkie-talkie. In walkie-talkie, a sender and receiver can communicate messages. However, if sender is communicating or talking, the receiver cannot send or speak messages. He must has to wait for his turn. And once the first speaker has finished, then the second speaker can transmit his message. Whereas in full duplex communication, it is like a telephone communication. That is, both sender and receiver can use the channel at the same time. They can send or exchange messages at the same time without any conflict. Another issue is, must there exist a relationship between the communicating processes? That is, the processes that are going to use pipe for the communication, should they have any kind of relationship? For example, should they have a parent-child relationship, or these processes should be the sibling to each other? So this issue also needs to be considered to design a pipe. Another issue is, can the pipes be used over a network? This means, can we use pipe to communicate, to provide communication between processes who are on different machines, and these machines are connected to one another using a network? So this issue also needs to be considered if we want to provide communication between different processes who are residing on different machines. Pipes can be divided into two classes: the ordinary pipes and named pipes. Ordinary pipes. In Unix or Linux operating system, a pipe can be used for inter-process communication between related processes on a system. This means the processes must have some relationship. Typically, the processes that wish to communicate, they have a parent-child relationship or sibling relationship. For example, if the processes have parent-child relationship, then parent creates the pipe to communicate with the child process. Consequently, this requirement also mentions that processes must be on the same machine. If the processes are related to each other, then typically these processes will be on the same machine. So pipe can provide inter-process communication between processes which are residing on the same machine. Communication happens in a standard producer-consumer style. That is, there is a one process which is the producer process, and there is another process which is the consumer process. Producer produces the information, and consumer process will consume the information. So producer process will write to the right end of the pipe, whereas consumer reads from the other end of the pipe, which is the read end. Therefore, we can say that ordinary pipes are unidirectional because only one process can write the information, whereas the other process will read the information. So the flow of the communication is only from the writer to the reader, that is from the producer to the consumer. So information will flow only in one direction. That's why we can say that ordinary pipes are unidirectional. If the consumer also wants to exchange information or send messages to the producer, then there must be another pipe that supports the communication from consumer to the producer. So to provide the communication from consumer to producer, we need another ordinary pipe. This way we can provide bidirectional communication using two pipes. Pipes cease to exist after processes have finished. This means once the processes that are using pipe for communication, they have terminated, the pipe will cease to exist. Pipe will also be terminated and the system resources will be released. In Windows operating system, ordinary pipes are called anonymous pipes. And these pipes in Windows operating system behave similar to the Unix pipes, Unix ordinary pipes. So in Windows, pipes are also provide unidirectional communication, and there must be a producer-consumer style of a relationship between the processes. That is, one process will write the information and the other process will read the information. And the processes must be on the same machine. So how we can provide two-way communication between processes are the bidirectional communication between the processes using ordinary pipes. So we have to use two ordinary pipes, one pipe for the parent and the other pipe for the child process. That is, one pipe will be used to support communication from parent to the child process, and the second pipe will be used to provide communication from child process to the parent process. This figure explains the use of two ordinary pipes between two processes, process A and process B. Process A is the parent process and process B is the child process. So first pipe 1, provides communication from parent process to the child process. Parent process can write information to the right end of the pipe, and the child process can read information from the read end of the pipe. And because child also wants to exchange messages with the parent, so we need another pipe 2, that will provide communication from child process, the process B, to the parent process, process A. So process B will write information to the right end of the second pipe, and process A will read information from the read end of the second pipe. So this way we have to use two pipes to provide bidirectional communication between a parent process and a child process. Named pipes. Named pipes are more powerful than the ordinary pipes. Named pipes are used for communication between related or unrelated processes. So why these pipes are more powerful? The first reason is because they can be used for communication between related as well as unrelated processes. So the processes need not to have any kind of parent-child or sibling relationship. The processes may have a parent-child or sibling relationship, however, it is not a requirement. The processes may be unrelated to each other. That is, there is no relationship between the processes. Another reason that named pipes are more powerful, That is, several processes can share the pipe. Typically, in named pipes, there are several writers and one reader to the pipe. So a named pipe has several writers. And communication is bidirectional in named pipes. This means messages can flow in both directions, that is from sender to the receiver as well as from receiver to the sender. And named pipes continue to exist after the communicating processes have finished. So this is another reason that named pipes are powerful, because the existence of named pipe doesn't depend upon the existence of communicating processes. Even if the communicating processes have finished their execution, named pipe will continue to exist. Named pipes are present in both Unix and Windows systems. That is, both Windows and Unix operating system support named pipes. However, they have different implementations. The implementation varies between Unix and Windows operating system. In Unix, named pipes are also known as FIFOs, first in, first out. Because a pipe behaves as a queue, the messages will appear at the read end in the same order as the messages have been written at the right end. So we call it pipe behaves as a queue, and we call them FIFOs. The communication is bidirectional but half duplex. This means a named pipe supports the flow of messages in both directions, from sender to receiver as well as from receiver to sender. The flow of the information will be in both directions. However, transmission will be in half duplex mode. That is, only one process at a time can send the information. The second process must wait until the first sender has finished sending the information. Another requirement of the named pipe in Unix is the communicating processes must be on the same machine. So, named pipes don't support inter-machine communication. The processes must be on the same machine to provide communication between processes. And final characteristic of the named pipe in Unix operating system is they support byte-oriented data transfer. This means messages travel as a continuous stream of bytes between the communicating processes. In Windows operating system, named pipes are more powerful and they have a different implementation as compared to the Unix named pipes. In Windows, named pipes are bidirectional as well as full duplex. That is, messages can flow in either direction. Moreover, transmission will be full duplex. That is, both sender and receiver can exchange the messages at the same time. They can write to that pipe at the same time. Moreover, Windows named pipes provide inter-machine communication. That is, communicating processes may reside on different machines which are connected through a network. And finally, Windows named pipes provide byte-oriented or message-oriented transmission. In message-oriented transmission, messages are exchanged in discrete units between the communicating processes.